Hello, everybody. We're going to wait just a few more minutes as I'm admitting more friends into our room. I've put the slide deck in the chat. It's also the bit.ly that's here on the front slide here, bit.ly/BSD slides PD, and that is case sensitive. So making sure that you enter it correctly would be fabulous. We'll give just everybody just another minute to hop in and we'll get started. And I've sent the slide deck to you so you can access. I think many of you are perhaps joining on your lunch hour, so appreciate that. They're trying to limit the amount of PD that we're allowed to offer so that you're not inundated, which I totally respect and totally get. So this was the one time slot that I was allotted. So if you're watching this on video, yay for you. If you're here, thank you for giving up your lunchtime. This is a tool I believe is worthy of giving up a few minutes or eating your lunch while you're watching. A fabulous workaround for giving students slides and maintaining ownership or being able to see what's going on their slides, as well as sending out additional slides. So you can add slides as well. All right, so hopefully everybody is either in the slide deck and you have those resources. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So maybe you can have some of your lunch. Great question, Carol. It is just to make life easy. I know this is a crazy, ridiculous slide deck. I'm just putting all resources that have anything to do with Google Slides all in the same slide deck. Just so you don't have to go find other resources. So it is the same slide deck. We're just going to jump all the way to slide 75 is where I put information for this particular add-on. And although I am teaching this session, we do have Heidi. Heidi is here, and Heidi is, hello Heidi. Heidi is a teacher who shared this with us, and she's using it with her class, so she is available to answer questions. After I've shown you how to do it, if you're like, what does this work, or any little tweaks, she's actively using it with kids. So she is here as a resource for us as well. All right, still admitting friends, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I did want to make sure you know that we are recording this session again for those who are watching at a later point in time. And I have put for you the slide deck in the chat. So if you are just joining us, there you go. The slide deck is there for you in the chat. All right, friends, this is a monster slide deck with all things Google Slides. And I'm going to slide down to slide 5, ironically, and we're going to learn about pile of slides. So I have it linked. It's in our advanced menu over on the right. And if you just go ahead and navigate all the way down to slide 75, this is where we're going to start talking about pile of slides. Now, Pile of Slides is an add-on that was created by this lady. Maybe you've heard of her, Alice Keeler, and she knows way, way more than I know about how to do like behind the scenes coding and creating of apps and things. So she has created this to solve the problem of maintaining connection to student slide decks and pushing slides out like in the middle of their slide deck. So this is an awesome tool that is perfect for remote learning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have us move to slide 76. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to please click on step 1 there, where it says, please make sure that your name and email address are on this Google Sheet. And what I did is I created a Google Sheet based upon the attendance for who had signed up in TeacherSource. So if you had already signed up in TeacherSource, I believe I already have your name and email address there, unless you signed up like super last minute. So if you need to add your name and school email address, can you go ahead and do that on the bottom of my form here, my sheet. What we're going to do is we're just going to pretend that you are students in my class so I can demo this really quickly. It's really not that difficult, but it's super, super fancy, and I think it'll save quite a bit of time. So if you can get your name in there, if it is not already in there, then you can play along at home with me as you pretend to be the student in my class. All right, I see some people are making sure I have the right name. You can feel free to change up your name if not the correct version is there, but make sure that is your school email address. Okay, as I said, going to be demoing as if you are students in my class. And we're going to be doing it through this thing called Pile of Slides. And Pile of Slides is an add-on. And currently in our district, you do not have to have permission to have that add-on added. It just connects your Google Drive to your students' Google Drive and allows you to push things back and forth to them. So as of right now, all is good to go. We're in the clear to do that. So as everybody is adding theirs right there, I went ahead and I watched her videos and talked to Heidi, and I have made a series of steps for you. And those steps are on the next slide, step 77. And I'll just leave that there for you. And I'm going to be working off that as I just demo this for you really quickly today. And then we answer some questions. And then you are free to go start sending slides to everybody you know. Okay, friends. I'm hopefully you got your names and addresses in there. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Step number 1, and I have them listed here for you. Again, I'm on slide 77, is to make a copy of the template. So, and it's literally hot linked there for you. You can just watch me right now if you'd like to. If you'd like to play around, you're welcome to do that as well. So it forces me to make a copy. I'm going to go ahead and make a copy. It's going to think for a moment. One of the things that you'll notice is there are a lot of like codes written into this. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer than your average thing to open up, but trust me, it's worth it. All right, as soon as we get it open, one of the first steps that I recommend is that you rename it, okay? So I'm going to call it Kunert. I'm gonna send you slides called Show Me the Money. And I wish it was Jerry Maguire, but it's not. It's a math activity. All right, so my first step is to go ahead and rename it what I wanted to name it, okay? The second step is to go up here and you'll notice that they already have Pile of Slides here as an add-on. Oh, admitting more friends. So if I touch Pile of Slides right here at the top, they already have it ready to go. We need to authorize it. So that's the first step is I click on authorize this add-on. And it says, do you sure you want to do that? And I say continue. Yes, I do want to do that. So it's currently authorizing. It's going to do my regular ask for my Google sign in, and I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to allow it. All right, boom. So first thing I did was I clicked Pile of Slides and I authorized it. All right. All right, the next thing, we're ready to go. Like that was it. After I do that authorizing, I'm going to go ahead and click on show my sidebar. And when I click on that, it's going to present me with this fabulous little menu of options I have over here on the right. And this is like your dashboard, right? These are all the things that you can do inside of her add-on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm doing my steps in order. I did that, beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and see my roster. I want to go ahead and do the top one that says show my list. And as of right now, I don't have any students in this slide deck yet, right? I don't have any students in here. So I'm going to go to the the sheet that I had you put your names and addresses on. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy all of that information, right? So I'm just copying the information that I already have. Now, one of the great tips that Heidi gave us is to not generate this every single time, right, that you're doing a new one, but to just have a sheet where you already have all of your students' names and addresses on there, email addresses, so it'll just save you time. So I just copied and pasted all of your names and addresses over there. So, all right, I did that. I showed my list. The next part is to make slides. And I love that she's put in the description there for you. It's going to create a folder in my drive, and it's also going to create one copy of a slide per student. So I clicked on that one time and it's thinking. And you'll notice down here on the bottom right, it is saying I'm making slides for, and all of your names are coming up. So this is that part that will take a little bit of time, but it is right now generating a blank slide. I haven't said what to put in it yet, but it is creating a blank slide for every single one of you. And it's putting it inside of your Google Drive. Now, the way you would access that when it finally gets to your turn, when you can see it, is it's going to be in your shared documents. So it's going to be a shared slide deck that pulls up automatically for you, which is so fabulous that I just literally can send it to you. So it's doing its little thing, it's thinking through. It's also going to create a folder for me. So I'm going to have access to, and again, a live working copy of all of your slide decks where I can super easily hop in and see all of your progress, right? Your interactive journal or your writing piece or whatever it is. So it is going through each one of you, adding all of your things there. And taking just a moment to do that. Now, when it is built originally, obviously there's no content in that slide deck yet. I haven't told it what to put in there, but I believe it just has your name on the front of it, which from a teacher perspective is great that it just goes ahead and labels it like, all right, I don't have to ask you to put your name on your thing. It will make sure that your name is attached. Now I'm wondering, has anybody seen theirs yet appear in their Google Drive? Yeah, a few people have. Awesome. Awesome. It's working its way through the list. And again, you probably, yay, thank you for the thumbs up. You probably don't want to do this like immediately, like get it pre-set up, obviously. There we go. Yay, magic. Magic just happened right there. All right, so it should have finished. It should have sent you a blank slide deck, right? There's nothing in it. So you could just do that right there. Like if you wanted your students to do something in slides, you could simply initiate it that way, send them all the slide, it's blank, and then give them directions to go to town right there. What it did, you'll notice for me, is it created a dashboard where I now have a link to each one of your slide decks. So we don't have to worry about sending it out and having students get the proper permissions and send it back to me. I right now already have here, I could hop into any one of yours. Let's hop into Jennifer's and see how, right? I could peek into Jen's slide deck. And as of right now, all it says is her name. And that's what all of yours say right now, because I haven't actually sent you any information. So that is all generated for you, which is super awesome. It should also create for me a folder in my Google Drive. And I believe, Heidi, if I'm correct, it says slides for, and then it gives the name of it. So it would say slides for Kunert Show Me the Money. And of course, my Google Drive is super slow. Okay, we'll look at that later, but it will pull up a folder for me. We'll look at it in a little bit. So, all right, I did that part. We created the roster. I generated a blank slide for you. The next step down here is to actually start pushing slides to students. So the first one says set slides, and that's the one where we're going to determine what slide deck I want to send you. So if I click on set slides, it's asking me for the URL of the slide. So I'm going to hop up to just a slide that I want you to do that has money in it, pretending. Great part about this, I believe, is you don't have to worry about any permissions because it's going to force a copy. So you don't have to worry about, do I have it set the appropriate way? I'm literally going to hop up there and I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to go back to my little thing. I'm going to paste in here. That are the slides. Those are the slides I want to send each one of you. It says, are you sure? I love that. I always love that. At Target, I love it. Target, it asks me if I'm sure, do I want to pay the whole bill or not the whole bill? I love that question when I'm checking out. I'm like, well, is that an option to not pay the whole bill? So I set those slides. Those slides are now the ones that we're going to use. Now I have options here. And because you don't have anything yet, I'm going to jump to the bottom here, which is to send you all the slides. I'm going to click that just one time. And I believe it's going to start doing its magical Alice Keeler thing. Yes, it is. Down on the bottom right there, it is now updating. You all already had a slide generated. Now it is updating and it is sending you the content of the slides that I just set. So magically on your end, and it does, oh, there we go. Whoa, whoa. I believe it has to work through every person and send them every slide, if that makes sense. So it may take a little time for this part to happen. Looks like we're on Suzanne. So it's sending Suzanne slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. So obviously if you're sending an entire interactive journal that's a 60-page slide deck, it's going to take more time than if you're just shooting kids a quick link because you want them to have access to something. So it is generating all of that for you. And let's see here, it already updated Carol's. So let's see if I can find Carol. Let's see if it started at the bottom. Where is Carol? There she is. All right, so if I click on Carol's and I peek into her slide deck, let's see if it does its magic. It's thinking Carol's in her slide deck. Look at her, she's already getting to work. Well done, Carol. She's counting money. Let's see. Carol, do you see the money yet? Show me the money. Not yet. Carol doesn't have the money yet. She's sitting in her slide deck, patiently waiting as it's coming through. Does anybody have it yet? This is exciting. It's coming. I see your names being generated. There should be a prize for the person who gets it first. Maybe refreshing.
Carrie, I'll just interrupt. I will say that this is the part that takes the longest, especially when you're sending out a lot of slides. When you're just sending out one or two, it takes like a minute.
So maybe not something to do while your class is sitting staring at you if you're going to send them a whole big slide deck, like my class is currently staring at me, wondering where their stuff is. So if you look down here in my my drive, I now have a folder that says slides for Show Me the Money, right? So I now have a copy of all of your slide decks organized for me in that that sheet. It's also organized for me in my folder, so I could hop in and see. And I do love that your names are on everything. Like that is a huge time saver right there. So I can hop in and this is your writing or this is your math journal or whatever. I can see actively what you're doing. Anyone have money? Not yet. All right, well, you get the idea, right? Like it's magically going to happen. You are going to have the slides pushed out directly to you. Really nice part in addition to that. So that's great. Like obviously sometimes you have the whole slide deck ready to go and you want to send it to your kids for the day. Often, like in reality world, often we're kind of developing the slides as we go, or you're like just getting ready for the next day's slides. It also has the ability to only send specific slides. So you could only send slides either to the top of their slides, or you could only choose to send slides to the bottom of their slides. Now, the sequential thinker in me, like I like things to be in order, like time order, and go top to bottom and put slides at the bottom, right? Like we're going to progress. But if you think about it, when you hop into their slide deck, the first thing you see is the thing on the top. So my brain has to like switcheroo. And if you don't want to be scrolling all the way to the bottom to see the most recent things, you might consider sending things to the top. So when kids open it, it's the first thing that they see instead of the thing at the bottom. And the easiest for you to see too, when you hop in and you can just grab the thing and see their most current work. But where you add it is totally up to you. Oh, Wyatt has his hand raised. How very formal. Yes, Wyatt, you have a question.
Hi, I trained my kids to raise their hand. No. A question around that, since I haven't used it and I'm still kind of waiting for it to roll. When you push out like an individual slide into the kids' slideshow, can you do it from a slide deck? So if you have a slide deck that's, 20 slides, when you prompt that, can you pick slide number 4 to push out?
Yes.
So I could remake it, but I could push day to day.
Yes, exactly. So I'm hopping into my awesome slide deck that I just sent you, and I'm just going to add a new slide at the bottom of it. Again, just to demo for you while it's thinking, and it's taking a little while. But if I created something new, and I'm just going to throw a shape in there just so you can see, right? I'm creating a shape and I'm going to give it some color. Let's pretend this was actually something of substance. This is slide number 11. So another thing that I can do here, oh, it says all of your slides have been updated. Hopefully that's happening soon. I'm going to go ahead and add that other slide while it's all still generating. So I could choose to send you a slide right at, I'm going to send it to the bottom just for fun to see if it works. And it's going to say, which slide number do you want to push? Because I'm still in that same slide deck that I built, I'm going to designate, I want slide 11 added to yours because it's the newest slide and I wanted it to go at the bottom. So I click OK. And again, it's going to do its magical little thing in the bottom right corner. And it's going to start sending you all, which probably will clog it up a little bit. Well, it's going to start sending you all that little silly slide I just made with the shape on the bottom. But you can do it on the fly like that, right? Like you say, oh, darn, I wish I would have given them this link. You could just add it right there on the spot into their slides. and add an additional page. Does anybody have access? Did anyone get their money yet? Yay, 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 yay. All right, and now the thing to look forward be to see if you did get that additional red, did I make it a red square? I don't remember what shape I made. You haven't gotten that part yet, so, oh yeah, why, yay. So it should turn, maybe it's a refresh on your end. It should appear at the bottom. Slide number 11 should be that newest shape that I just sent out to you. So pretty cool in that I know some of you are probably busy adding money and working on your work there, but I can again hop into anybody's. I can look at Kimberly's work, right? And instead of just seeing her blank little name there, now I can see all the work that she's done. And I have access, live access to hop in and see how she's doing on her money. I can do all the normal things in Google Slides. I can comment on there, right? And give her feedback as to what's going on, but I have a live copy of her work. Again, I have it here and I have it in my Google Drive. I have a folder with just that assignment. Now I did read that Alice Keeler says that you can keep using this same sheet, change up the slides that you're using, like push a whole new set of slides, but keep it here. And based on what Heidi's losing her mind. Based on chatting with Heidi and just seeing how it makes sense, it seems to me that you leave a dashboard, you leave this sheet attached to that slide, right? Like these two go together. And if I want to push out a new slide to kids, I grab a totally new sheet, like a nice fresh start with a new sheet. Again, I just copy and paste their names and addresses and I do this whole thing again. And I have separate dashboards. So when it's math time, I hop into the math dashboard and I can see all their math journals. Now it's writing, I hop into that dashboard and I can see access to all of their writing pieces. So even though she suggested that in the video, it seems cleaner and easier to me to have a separate sheet running its magic for each one of your slide decks that you're pushing out, because you want to maintain that link. So I don't even know how that would work if you changed up the slides, right? It would hop to a new one. So I would suggest that you start the whole process fresh for a new slide that you want to connect to your students. Anyone have questions for myself or Heidi, who has been using this with students? You can feel free to just unmute and ask if you'd like. We just did such a complete job explaining it. For the win, yay. Now I do believe, now I don't know about this, Heidi, could you mess up your students' work by like overwriting it? Do you know what I mean? Like if you had already sent them the work and they had like done some of the math and then I like resent you the slides, that would likely mess up their work, correct?
So luckily I haven't done that, but my guess would be if you sent it again, it would just add, they would just have double copies of it. Right. I think.
Okay. So after you have sent all the slides, don't touch that button again. We don't know what happens. But you wouldn't need to. You're either going to add slides, additional slides to the top, or you're going to add them to the bottom. And if you needed to like update a slide, like you had a mistake or whatever, you could just send them that slide again, you know, and they could delete the other version or whatever if you needed to replace something.
So Carrie, somebody in chat said you could try it with us. Try to send it out again and see what happens.
Ooh, fun.
And then Krista is asking how I'm using it in my class. And I have a digital notebook for reading, writing, and math. So each day I just like writing session 11 and I push out what I want them to do that day. And so they just know, they bookmarked all of their notebooks and they know that that's where their lesson's going to be every day. I think for our team, because we're not using Seesaw, we're using Canvas, and we decided that we don't want every single thing to be an assignment. I don't want to do that much grading, that having a notebook would be the best plan. And then what I ask them to put on Canvas is really only the things that we're going to assess. And so we decided that a digital notebook was just easier for us so that we weren't marking things complete, incomplete all day long.
Another thing that Heidi explained to us originally is like if you have 4 pages to send them for the day she puts things at the top. So she adds them in reverse order. So first she would add page 4, then page 3, then 2, then 1. So they do end up for kids in the correct order because she's just adding them all to the top, if that makes sense. And I know it takes a long time, but I did send you all the slides again. So see if it messes up any of your math. Any other questions for us?
Can I
Yeah.
say two things? One way to think about it is like this spreadsheet that you're seeing of emails controls which slide of the students that it's going to. So you actually can like I would have my digital notebook that it's going to, but I can pull slides from different slideshows that I control and put them into their same. Someone had asked if you could use slides from different slide decks.
Oh, good. So, and you do that by you set the slides?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that made sense, she's changing up, adding some content from one slide and another slide, just changing the slide that's assigned to this one. That's perfect. Thank you.
I have one question because I was using this digital notebook thing from Nicole Carter that's actually shaped kind of like a notebook, like 8.5 by 11. Do you know if there's any way to, probably not, but like it looks like it has to be the traditional slide shape, I guess.
It's any slide deck that you want to use. So if you just want to make a copy of what Nicole has, like you can it'll send that to the kids.
Yeah, I tried. It forces it into the original shape that it makes when it makes their name slide.
Oh.
Okay, I think I'll just play around with it, which is not a big deal.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, this is super cool. I'm glad we can use it. When it said to authorize, I was worried, but this is excellent. Thank you.
Can I ask I have another question about this with workflow. So my grade level is, we were not given a choice. We're using Seesaw. And I don't particularly like it for the upper grades. So I like the idea of a digital journal, but I also know that I have parents trying to help their kids track assignments. So I'm trying to think about this, and I'd love any advice from anybody of if I'm going to like a reading slide deck where I'm updating it and we're doing the work inside of that, I can have the kids bookmark this as a slide deck, right? And we can work from it, but then I don't know why I would post anything on Seesaw, and then that takes parents out of the loop, or I don't know if that then also negates the district's like, thou shalt use Seesaw as communication tool, like, you know.
Well, I can say that so our whole 5th grade team is using this, and what we've come to at this point, and maybe it'll change, is finding this way to like hold kids accountable during this time when we're not in class with them. And so we're doing like 2 assignments on Canvas for reading each week and 2 assignments for writing. And then what I've done is when I like jump in and honestly, I don't look at their notebooks every day. I don't have time for that. But when I do, and anybody who doesn't have the assignment done in their notebook, I'll just send them a message. Again, we're using Canvas, but however, I just say, hey, don't forget to do session 8. And I don't, if parents can see that communication, I just have like a little checklist that I use whether they did their assignment or not.
You could also use Seesaw and just take a screenshot, right, of a certain page. Like work in your digital journal and just submit page 10 to me. Screenshot that, submit it through Seesaw, and I can still give you feedback and parents can still see it that way. Obviously not every page, but the occasional thing you do want a spot check on, you can make it an assignment, and then you have it organized in Seesaw. You can give that feedback to kids through there or through Google directly. I did send
that's
you
exactly
all those.
what I did too. Is do the same thing that Carrie. That's the thing I did. That's the same thing I did, Carrie. Was I don't want you to send me the whole thing every time. Just take a screenshot of what you've done. If I really need to check and validate what you've been doing, I have the link. I can go back and look at it.
I think it's also about prompting parents to know, like, because in a workshop model, they're not doing session 11, maybe, maybe they're still working on characters, maybe they're still, and that's a workshop style. Not everybody's doing the same thing every day. So we're using Seesaw, but I'm showing my parents, hey, have, ask your child about, in my newsletters, or that I have a to-do list on my planner page for the day, spend this much time, or show your parents or talk to your parents. So I think it's that way parents are aware, here's what my child was supposed to do today. Maybe I should check in and see if they're doing something. I don't know. That's what I've been doing. So I don't have assignments every day for writing and every day for reading.
Less to look at too. Right? I sent you all those slides again. I don't know if anyone has received them twice, if it messed anything up. I don't know how it looks on your end. I don't know if it's still processing, because again, that was a big workload to ask it to do all of that a second time. Not yet.
I just got, it looks like it just sent it again, and it put it, I think it put it at the bottom, and so now I just have 2 sets of the slides.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't get rid of my work that I had done.
There you go. There's the answer to that question. All right, friends, if we don't have any more questions, I want you to be able to enjoy your lunch hour. So thank you to Heidi for sharing this with us. Thank you for your insight. And I wanted to make sure in the slide deck that I did share with you that there is your check-in for Teacher Source is on slide 78. So just the next slide in there is your check-in. So you can just click right on that link. I'll stick it in the chat as well if that is easier for everybody. And thanks for coming. And hopefully this is helpful. When I saw this, I was like, okay, teachers need to know about this tool and way to organize the flow, right? The workflow of information to kids and back, and maintaining that copy so that you can give them input and less turning in of things, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.